Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to you about something that holds the power to change everything in your life. And that something is your ability to be dangerous, not in the way we typically think of danger, but in the sense of stepping into your own power, your own truth, your own strength, even when life's storms try to knock you down. When we talk about embracing your power, we are speaking about recognizing the incredible force that resides within you, waiting to be tapped into. Every one of us has this power, this inner strength that, when unleashed, can carry us through the toughest of times. However, so many of us are conditioned to believe that power is something external, something we need to seek outside ourselves, whether through approval, success, or validation. But the truth is, power has always been inside you, and it's been there from the moment you were born. Embracing your power starts with acknowledging that your feelings, while real, do not control you. We often let our negative emotions take the driver's seat, steering us toward places we don't want to go. But when you start to embrace your power, you take the wheel. You recognize that while you can feel anger, sadness, or frustration, these emotions do not have to define your actions. You are the one in charge of your journey, and your emotions, though valid, don't dictate your destination. The first step in embracing your power is to own it. Own the fact that you have the ability to rise above negative emotions. When you claim ownership over your feelings and experiences, you stop letting them have control over you. Instead, you become the master of your own emotional state. No longer do you allow fear or doubt to make decisions for you. You stand in your truth and take responsibility for how you respond to the world around you. It's also important to recognize that embracing your power means trusting yourself. Trust that you have what it takes to navigate through difficult emotions. We often find ourselves doubting our ability to handle the hard moments in life, but it is precisely in those moments that our strength is revealed. Trusting yourself means knowing that you can face anything that comes your way. It means having faith in your resilience, even when the storm feels overwhelming. In order to truly embrace your power, you must also release the things that no longer serve you. Negative feelings, past traumas, fears of the future, these are all burdens we carry that weigh us down. And the more we hold on to them, the less room there is for our true power to shine through. When you let go of these limiting beliefs and toxic emotions, you make space for your strength to rise to the surface. You make room for the light that's always been within you to shine brighter. Embracing your power also involves forgiving yourself. We often hold ourselves to impossible standards, thinking that if we just push harder, try more, or do better, we'll be able to silence the negativity. But the truth is, no one is perfect, and every misstep, every mistake is a part of the journey. When you forgive yourself, you free yourself from the weight of guilt and shame. You give yourself permission to move forward, to embrace your humanity, and to grow. Another crucial part of embracing your power is being present. When we're lost in the past or consumed by worries about the future, we miss the present moment, the moment where our true power exists. The more you focus on the present, the more you can tap into your inner strength. You realize that you have everything you need right here, right now. You don't have to look for answers outside yourself. The power to overcome is already within you in this moment. Finally, embracing your power is about choosing to be the creator of your life. Every day you are presented with choices. You choose how you respond to the world, how you interact with the challenges that come your way, and how you care for yourself. Your power is found in these choices, and every time you choose to rise above negative feelings and not be ruled by them, you strengthen your ability to create the life you deserve. This journey of embracing your power is ongoing. It's a practice, a commitment, and a decision you make every day to stand in your strength and truth. No matter what negative feelings arise, you have the ability to face them and overcome them. You have always had this power inside of you, and it's time to fully claim it. When you do, nothing can hold you back. shifting your perspective begins with the understanding that how you view the world directly impacts how you experience it. Negative feelings often arise when we see life through a lens of limitation, scarcity, or fear. But when you change the way you look at your circumstances, you can change how you feel about them. The truth is, every situation is filled with opportunities, even those that seem painful or difficult. It's not the events that define you, but your perception of them. When you shift your perspective, you free yourself from the confines of negativity. One of the most powerful tools for shifting perspective is choosing to see challenges as opportunities for growth. Life will always present obstacles, but how you respond to them determines your path. When you view challenges as stepping stones rather than barriers, you transform your struggles into sources of strength. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" This simple shift opens up possibilities and allows you to move forward with purpose, knowing that every experience holds value if you're willing to see it that way. Another important aspect of shifting your perspective is realizing that your emotions don't control your reality, you do. When negative feelings arise, it's easy to feel as though they are the truth, as though they are a permanent part of your story. But emotions are transient. They are like weather patterns, they come and go. By understanding that feelings are temporary, you can learn to ride the waves of emotion without being consumed by them. You don't have to believe everything you feel. Your power lies in choosing your response to those feelings rather than being at their mercy. In order to shift your perspective, it's also essential to focus on what you can control. Often we fall into the trap of thinking that we must have control over everything in our lives, but the truth is, we don't. We can't control the actions of others, the past, or the future. But we can control how we show up each day. We can control our mindset, our reactions, and our attitude. By focusing on what you can control, you stop wasting energy on things outside your reach and direct it toward creating a life that reflects your true potential. When you shift your perspective, you also begin to embrace the power of gratitude. Gratitude has the ability to transform your mindset in a profound way. In moments of negativity, it can be hard to see anything good, but the practice of gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right. It redirects your attention from lack to abundance, from pain to possibility. Even in the darkest moments, there is always something to be thankful for. And when you train yourself to look for those things, you begin to see the world in a whole new light. Part of shifting your perspective is detaching from the opinions of others. So often we let the judgments, criticisms, or expectations of others influence how we see ourselves. But when you realize that their perspective is not your truth, you begin to liberate yourself from the need for external validation. What others think of you is none of your business. Your worth is not determined by anyone else's view of you. Once you embrace this, you take back your power and start living according to your own values, not someone else's. Shifting your perspective also means redefining failure. Many of us see failure as a permanent negative reflection of who we are. But in reality, failure is just a part of the process. It's feedback. It's learning. When you shift your perspective, you begin to see that each setback is not a reflection of your worth, but an opportunity to recalibrate and try again. This change in perspective allows you to move through life's ups and downs with resilience, knowing that success is often built on the foundation of past failures. Finally, shifting your perspective means recognizing that everything is temporary. Negative feelings, difficult moments, and challenging situations will come and go. This too shall pass. When you adopt this mindset, you stop attaching your sense of self-worth to the current state of things. You realize that you are not defined by any one moment, whether it's a moment of pain or a moment of triumph. You are part of a bigger story, and every chapter, good or bad, is just one part of your journey. With this understanding, you can face anything with a sense of calm and clarity. Radical self-love is a revolutionary act of honoring yourself, even when the world around you might try to tell you otherwise. It's about accepting every part of who you are, your strengths and your flaws, your light and your shadows. Too often we are conditioned to criticize ourselves, to strive for an ideal that isn't even ours. Radical self-love means stepping away from that mindset and embracing the truth that you are enough, just as you are. It's about realizing that you deserve kindness, patience, and grace, not only from others, but most importantly, from yourself. At the core of radical self-love is the practice of compassionate self-acceptance. This isn't about ignoring your flaws or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about embracing yourself as a whole being, including all the parts that you may have once judged or wished to change. When you accept yourself fully, you stop fighting against your imperfections and start appreciating the unique qualities that make you who you are. This acceptance frees you from the cycle of self-rejection and opens the door to healing and growth. Radical self-love also involves setting boundaries, recognizing that it's okay to say no, to protect your peace, and to prioritize your well-being. So often we stretch ourselves thin trying to please others or meet external expectations, neglecting our own needs in the process. But when you practice radical self-love, you recognize that your energy is precious, and it's okay to guard it. You don't have to say yes to everything, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. Boundaries are not walls, they are acts of self-respect that allow you to show up as your best self. Another key aspect of radical self-love is nurturing your body and mind. It's easy to neglect your physical and mental well-being in the hustle and bustle of life, but radical self-love demands that you treat your body with respect and care. This means listening to your body's needs, whether that's getting enough rest, fueling it with nourishing food, or engaging in movement that makes you feel alive. It also means prioritizing your mental health by engaging in practices that bring you peace, whether that's meditation, journaling, or simply taking time to breathe. Your body is the vessel through which you experience the world. Treating it with love is not only an act of self-care, but an act of self-respect. Radical self-love requires you to challenge negative self-talk. We are often our own harshest critics, constantly replaying the narratives that tell us we're not good enough, not worthy enough, or not capable enough. But to practice radical self-love, you must rewrite that story. You must replace those damaging thoughts with affirmations that reinforce your worth, your strength, and your ability to overcome. Every time you catch yourself in a moment of self-doubt or criticism, challenge those thoughts with love and compassion. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to a friend who needed encouragement. Remind yourself of your brilliance and resilience. In the journey of radical self-love, forgiving yourself is essential. We all make mistakes, we all stumble, we all have moments of failure or regret. But radical self-love means releasing the grip of guilt and shame that we often hold on to. It means understanding that your past doesn't define you and that every misstep is an opportunity to learn, not a mark of your worth. When you forgive yourself, you free yourself from the weight of the past and create space for growth, healing, and self-compassion. You learn to be gentle with yourself, to embrace the lessons without letting them dictate your future. Radical self-love also calls for embracing your authentic self. Too often we conform to societal expectations or wear masks to fit in or be accepted. But self-love is about shedding those layers of pretense and showing up as your true, unfiltered self. This means no longer pretending to be someone you're not to gain approval, and instead allowing yourself to be vulnerable and real. When you embrace your authentic self, you stop worrying about external validation and start focusing on the love and approval that comes from within. Finally, radical self-love is about celebrating your journey. Every step, every achievement, and even every setback is a part of your unique story. Radical self-love encourages you to take pride in how far you've come, to acknowledge your growth, and to honor the person you've become. It's not about perfection, but about progress. By celebrating your journey, you affirm your worth and remind yourself of the strength and resilience that resides within you. You begin to recognize that you are worthy of love, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. Taking ownership of your story means embracing every chapter of your life, from the joyful moments to the painful ones. It's about recognizing that you are the author of your narrative and no one else has the power to define your worth or your future. Too often, we allow external circumstances, other people's opinions, or past mistakes to dictate who we are and how we show up in the world. But when you take ownership of your story, you reclaim the power to shape your destiny. You stop being a passive participant in your life and begin to actively create the future you desire. The first step in owning your story is acknowledging your past, the good, the bad, and everything in between. So often we try to suppress or deny the parts of our past that we find uncomfortable or painful. We may feel shame or guilt about mistakes we've made, or we may hold on to old wounds that prevent us from moving forward. But to truly take ownership, you must look at your past with honesty and compassion. You recognize that the experiences that have shaped you are just that, experiences. They do not define you. They are simply part of the journey that has brought you to where you are today. Taking ownership also means reclaiming your power. It's easy to feel like a victim of circumstances, especially when life is throwing challenges your way. But when you take ownership of your story, you stop playing the role of the victim. You recognize that no matter what has happened to you, you have the power to decide how it impacts your life moving forward. You stop giving your power away to people, situations, or past events. Instead, you take responsibility for your reactions, your mindset, and your choices. This is where true freedom begins, the moment you realize that you have control over your response to life. Owning your story also involves forgiving yourself for past mistakes. We are often our own harshest critics, holding on to guilt and regret long after the mistakes have been made. But when you take ownership of your story, you understand that forgiveness is not about excusing past actions, it's about releasing the hold those actions have on you. You free yourself from the grip of shame and self-blame, allowing space for healing. By forgiving yourself, you acknowledge that you are human, that growth comes through mistakes, and that you are worthy of compassion and grace. Taking ownership of your story also means redefining failure. So many of us fear failure, believing that it is a permanent reflection of our worth. But when you own your story, you redefine failure as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. And every failure, every setback is a lesson, a part of the process. It's not the end of your story, but a part of it. You recognize that failure does not diminish your value or potential. Instead, it gives you the tools and wisdom to move forward with more clarity, confidence, and resilience. Another aspect of taking ownership is setting clear intentions for the future. Your past may have shaped you, but it doesn't have to dictate your future. When you take full ownership of your story, you shift your focus to the future and set clear, intentional goals for what you want to create. You don't wait for life to happen to you. You make choices that align with your values and dreams. You take steps every day, no matter how small, toward the life you want to live. By taking ownership of your story, you become an active participant in creating the future you envision. In owning your story, you also let go of the need for approval. Too often we seek validation from others, allowing their opinions and judgments to shape how we view ourselves. But when you take ownership of your story, you stop seeking external validation and start validating yourself. You recognize that you are enough as you are, and that your worth is not dependent on the approval of others. You let go of the need to please everyone and instead focus on living authentically, true to your own values and vision for your life. Finally, taking ownership of your story means living with purpose. When you embrace the power of your narrative, you live with intention and clarity. Every choice you make, every action you take is aligned with your deeper purpose and vision. You stop letting life just happen to you and start creating the life you want to lead. You take ownership of your dreams, your desires, and your potential, and you move forward with the conviction that you are worthy of all that you wish to manifest. By owning your story, you live in full alignment with your truth, and that is where your true power lies. Creating space for healing is one of the most profound acts of self-care you can engage in. Healing isn't a destination, it's a process. It's not something that can be forced or rushed, but something that must unfold naturally in its own time. In our fast-paced world, we often feel pressured to move on or get over it quickly, but real healing requires patience and intentionality. Creating space for healing means giving yourself permission to feel, to process, and to allow your heart, mind, and spirit to recover at their own pace. It means honoring the pain and trauma without letting it define you. Choosing empowerment over victimhood is one of the most powerful decisions you can make in your life. When you choose empowerment, you take responsibility for your choices, your actions, and the direction of your life. It means that instead of seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, you see yourself as the creator of your own experience. Empowerment comes from recognizing that you have the power to change your mindset, your situation, and your life, regardless of the challenges you may face. Victimhood, on the other hand, keeps you trapped in a cycle of helplessness and blame, disempowering you from taking control and moving forward. One of the first steps in choosing empowerment is shifting your mindset. The way you view yourself and the world around you has a profound impact on your ability to navigate life's challenges. When you see yourself as a victim, you focus on the things that have been done to you and the things you can't control. But when you choose empowerment, you shift your focus to what you can control: your response, your attitude, and your actions. You stop seeing yourself as helpless and start seeing yourself as capable of overcoming obstacles, no matter how big or small. This shift in mindset is the foundation of empowerment. Another key aspect of choosing empowerment is taking responsibility for your life. While we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Victimhood is rooted in the belief that life is happening to you, that circumstances, people, or the world are somehow conspiring against you. But when you choose empowerment, you recognize that you always have a choice. You may not have control over every situation, but you always have the power to choose your attitude and your next steps. Taking responsibility for your life means owning your choices, owning your actions, and realizing that you are the one who holds the keys to your future. Choosing empowerment also means letting go of blame. Blame is a heavy burden that keeps you tied to the past and prevents you from moving forward. When you focus on who or what is to blame for your situation, you give away your power. You disempower yourself because you're focusing on external forces rather than your internal strength. Empowerment comes when you let go of blame, whether it's blaming others, circumstances, or even yourself, and take ownership of your present moment. You understand that blame doesn't serve you. What serves you is acknowledging where you are and deciding where you want to go from here. In order to choose empowerment, you also need to practice self-compassion. So often we are harder on ourselves than we are on anyone else. When we fall short or make mistakes, we beat ourselves up, holding ourselves to impossible standards. But empowerment begins with loving and accepting yourself. You must treat yourself with the same compassion and understanding that you would show to a loved one. When you choose to be kind to yourself in times of struggle, you create space for growth and healing. You realize that mistakes don't define you. They are simply lessons that guide you toward greater strength and resilience. Choosing empowerment also involves recognizing your inner strength. Everyone has faced challenges, and some may have experienced deep pain or hardship. But empowerment comes when you look at those challenges not as insurmountable obstacles, but as proof of your strength. Every trial you've overcome, every hardship you faced, is evidence of your ability to endure, adapt, and thrive. When you choose to see yourself through the lens of strength, you begin to recognize that you are far more resilient than you may have once believed. Your power comes from knowing that you've survived difficult moments and are capable of handling whatever comes next. To truly choose empowerment, it's important to embrace your choices and own your decisions. Empowerment comes when you stop blaming others for your situation and start taking full responsibility for your choices. Every choice you make, whether it's big or small, has an impact on your life. When you choose empowerment, you recognize that you are in control of the decisions you make and that those decisions shape the life you lead. You stop feeling victimized by circumstances and start creating the life you want through intentional, thoughtful choices. Choosing empowerment also means moving forward with courage. It's easy to stay stuck in victimhood because it's familiar. It's easy to hold on to past hurts because they offer a sense of identity, even if that identity is one of pain and struggle. But choosing empowerment means stepping into the unknown, taking risks, and trusting in your own ability to overcome. It means having the courage to leave behind old patterns of thinking and behaving and to embrace a new way of living. Empowerment requires the bravery to face the future with confidence, knowing that you are capable of handling whatever challenges come your way. Finally, choosing empowerment means embracing a growth mindset. People who embrace victimhood often see life as a series of fixed outcomes. They believe that their circumstances define their future and that they are stuck in a certain way of being. Empowerment, however, comes when you adopt a mindset of growth, the belief that you can learn, evolve, and improve no matter where you start. Every experience is an opportunity to grow, and every setback is a chance to learn. When you choose empowerment, you embrace the idea that your future is not determined by your past, it is shaped by your willingness to grow, to change, and to rise above any challenge you encounter.